Rockers in Recovery Media is dedicated to carrying the message of addiction recovery through music, news, events, and festivals taking place within and not limited to the clean and sober community.
Don Hollis with Rockers in Recovery. We want to welcome everybody to the show. And, of course, Rockers in Recovery Radio has been around since 2008, and we broadcast a message of hope. If you're out there and you're suffering tonight and there's an issue with addiction in your life, this is what the show's about. It's, of course, music and recovery, but it's also recovery education. Tonight, our first guest is a recovery educator. His name is Joseph Kane, and he is an LSW and a clinical administrator at Clearbrook Treatment Centers up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. He's a native and a current resident at West Scranton, PA. He attended the Pennsylvania State University, earning his BA in psychology. He then went on to Marywood University and received his master's degree in social work. Going one step further in his education, accreditations, in his credentials, Joe completed all the requirements for him to become a licensed social worker. And want to bring Joe on. We're going to talk about the current epidemic that's happening across the country. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm also a Virgo, and I enjoy long walks on the beach as well.
Do you?
I think that I should put that in my profile so everybody knows.
Well, hey, listen, something if you do it right and it's in Wildwood, I might join you.
Well, thanks for having me.
No problem, Joe. Joe, let's talk about the current epidemic that is, killing a generation, and the opioid epidemic that has been created by Big Pharma and many other, folks out there that are into the money business of this thing. And I have found since 2008, when we started Rockers in Recovery Radio, that our first show on opioid dependency and opioid addiction was around kids finding medicine in their grandparents and their families' medicine cabinets, and it's gone on to be so much more than just that. And hundreds of shows later, here we are, and it's even worse. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, even in the Northeast and northeastern Pennsylvania, the two counties that a lot of our population comes from, which is both Lackawanna and Luzerne County. In Lackawanna County, we have one overdose resulting in death every 3 days, and in Luzerne County alone this year, it's about one every 2 days. So, I mean, the rates at which we're losing people is alarming, and it seems like it's only exponentially getting worse over time.
This is it's killing off a generation. I mean, because you do have your older, I believe that there's older people that are dealing with the opioid crisis too, and I'm talking about people that are in retirement age and that. But it's really, really affecting the younger generation, that 16 to 25 age group. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely, and it's crazy. Like you alluded to the fact that a lot of these are starting with prescription medications. When you look at the rates in Pennsylvania alone, it's 80% of the Pennsylvania population is on some type of opiate narcotic medication. I've been, I guess you could say, fortunate or unfortunate enough to do a lot of work in the school districts this year with our local district attorney. And it's funny because you'll ask the kids in that demographic, the teenage kids, how many of them know exactly where their parents or their family members keep their prescription medications. And every single hand will raise in an auditorium or whatever forum we're speaking in. And then the follow-up question that you ask these kids is, how many of your loved ones or your family members have those prescription medications under lock or key? And you might see 1-2 hands raise. So you have kids that have easy access to these drugs, and their outlook on the drugs in this culture is very, it's naive. You look at how adolescents perceive marijuana in and of itself, and 80% of all kids perceive no risk in marijuana. So, I mean, what do you think that says for all drugs?
And I think it even gets worse when you have the doctor prescribing, because now you have that whole, well, doctor prescribed it to me, so it must be okay.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of states that are doing, that are trying to start initiatives in terms of like prescription drug monitoring programs, which Pennsylvania has just gone on the train with that as well. But, it's what happens with things of that nature is it gets worse before it gets better, because now they're at least monitoring how many doctors are prescribing medications and if anything is contraindicated. But it will also push a lot of people into the black market, So you have those issues as well. But
going
it's
for
nice
a bag
to
of heroin
see that,
or whatever it may be.
Oh, absolutely. It's nice to see that they're doing this, but and it's also nice to see that the state and the federal government is actually going after some of these doctors that freely prescribe medications like they do. But at this point and in this juncture of time, it's like it's trying to heal a gunshot wound with gauze.
Yep. Bullet on a Band-Aid. Or what's that?
That's
a
right.
Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Great. What do you think that the whole process is now for the recovery aspect, because it is so overwhelming? What are folks like yourself as a clinical administrator for Clearbrook, what are you guys doing to be able to help the recovery process with these folks? What do you do?
Well, it's in terms of like the treatment aspect of it, it's we're old school in our approach. We believe in the 12-step philosophy of recovery and an abstinence-based model of treatment. I could speak for myself. I'm a person in recovery. There's a big shift now towards medicated-assisted treatment, and you're going to see a lot of that. I think in the upcoming years and in the near future. And what we try to do is an abstinent-based model of treatment. With strong AA principles and philosophy. AA and NA 12-step-based program. And the other. Some of the newer initiatives that treatment centers are coming out with, but also it's old school principles. Part of the idea behind recovery is you have to start to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and you have to start to rely on reaching out to people and actually trying to take some type of direction in your life.
What do you think, Joe, of the person, because there's a lot of people out there that say it, hey, listen, the 12-step approach doesn't work. What do you think of that?
Well, you know what? I would say this. AA's been around since 1935, okay? Now, is it safe to say that there's other things getting people clean and sober? Sure, there is. What I would say is, I've met a lot of people in the course of time, treated a lot of addicts and alcoholics, and I've seen people come in that have never worked a step in their life, and I always ask them a couple of the same questions. The first thing I ask them is, who did they help? They got this gift of recovery. They got this whatever you want to call it, grace or a blessing or a miracle of losing that obsession and compulsion to drink and use drugs. They got this wonderful thing, and I asked them, who did you give it to? Who did you bestow this thing that got put into your life? Who'd you pay it forward to? And their answer is always the same, is no one. The other question that I asked them is, did you ask some type of spiritual center? I guess you would, in AA context, put it as a higher power. Did you ask some type of higher power to help you stay clean and sober that day? And the answer is always no. So, I think we live in a society, especially in recent times, that it's like every man for himself. What better place to help others and be on the front lines of like making a positive movement in the shift of our culture than on the front lines of addiction.
It's funny that you bring this up because there's this whole thing when you go to meetings today, and I'm a member of a 12-step organization. I don't say which one, but I am a member of a 12-step organization. You go to a meeting, and a lot of times you actually see people with their cell phones they're actually texting in the middle of the meeting. Or
Sure.
it comes to the end, and, they're on Facebook, they're doing whatever they're doing, but it comes to the end, and they don't even have the common courtesy to be able to throw a buck in the basket. And you know something? For me, as somebody that's in recovery and going to a 12-step organization, I want that place to be there for me. But most importantly, I want to be able to give back, because that's why I'm going there. But most importantly, if I need to be fed, I need to do it with somebody that's engaged, and sometimes you don't see that. Now, the good news is that the old-timers are still the old-timers, and they let people know. Put that phone down. It pisses people off, but understand something. It's saving your life.
Yeah.
Throw a buck in the basket, have some humility, and understand that this is, saving your life. So these are things that I think, like you said, the culture is totally different. The millenniums and even, some of us old folk just, are self-centered and selfish to the extreme. And until that changes, nothing changes.
Yeah, it's kind of, when you deal with addiction and you deal with people that suffer from addictive diseases, we're some of the most impulsive people on the planet to begin with. And then you take away the solution to our life. You take away the solution to our life, which is drugs and alcohol, and then you really find out what impulsive looks like. I tell patients all the time, if you want to know if you're a drug addict or alcoholic, stop drinking and using drugs and see if you become sane. And if you're anything like me, that's when your problem starts. And that's what the misconception is that, the drinking and the drugs is the problem, and it's not. It's the solution. The problem is me, and that's what I really have to treat. Is I have no coping skills. I have zero impulsivity. I have to start to build a new framework of my life, and that starts with finding out through other people's experience. I mean, at the core of recovery is sharing experience, strength, and hope, and that's something that is intricate in the process, and the only way to do that is to be able to engage in listening.
Good stuff, man. Well, listen, Joe, I'm really glad that you're on the show. I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better on September the 9th at the park over there. We are getting ready to do a huge event at Kirby Park in Wilkes-Barre, and that's going to be September the 9th. It starts at 11:30 a.m. and it goes until about 5, and then from 5 to about 6:30 we're doing a meet and greet at the Recovery Pavilion. And if you need help or if you have a loved one that needs help, please, come to the festival. Nobody will be turned away. If you want help, you'll get help that day. We want to thank Joe for taking the time tonight. Joe Kane, you're a great guy. And check out Clearbrook Treatment Centers. You can go to, of course, clearbrook.inc.com, and you can also call 888-414-4209. Ask for Joe Kane. He'll be glad to answer any questions, I'm sure. 888-414-4209. Joe, I want to thank you so much again for being on the show. And in closing, anything that you would like to say?
No, I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate the time. And I could say this, if you're struggling out there, there's hope. There's 100% absolute hope. And if you're desperate, just hold on and hang on and reach out. Don't give up. It's, the easy thing to do is throw in the towel, but you gotta know that there's millions of people on the face of the planet that were in the same situation or position that you were in, and we found a solution that works. So hang in and hold on and reach out.
Good message of hope. Thank you, Joe. We'll talk soon. All right, guys. That was a great interview. Joe's a great guy, and again, feel free to reach out to him. Our friend Stacey Hampton, who has been a supporter of Rockers in Recovery, and she is a rocker in recovery, singer-songwriter. She has a new release out. It's called Fade into Black. We're going to be talking with Stacey tonight about music and recovery, and most importantly, we're going to find out what she's up to. Stacey, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, John. How you doing, bud?
So far, so good. I'm above dirt. Any day I'm above dirt is a good day.
Yeah, it is.
Stacey, you got a new release out. Tell us about it. Fade into Black.
Yeah, it's there. The song came about, quite honestly, with reading so much that's going on right now with the heroin epidemic and the opiate epidemic and the numbers that we all see on a daily basis of people that are just succumbing to what's going on with it, and that's my own experience as well. It's a part of my story, and there's and I had just gotten reading an article that Michael De Leon had put out there, and the numbers were just absolutely staggering, and it honestly took me back to where I was at in it, and then I just started writing about it, quite honestly, and what it feels like to be in the middle of that, and I was listening, to your previous artist that you had on there, and he was talking about, hope, and there's always hope, and I remember how hopeless I felt, and just that yearning of wanting it just to be over and just to end, but I just captured that and just started writing about it. And honestly, it had been a while since I wrote from that perspective, in that sense. A lot of songs that I write currently, and the majority of the stuff that I've written in sobriety, I've really tried to be mindful about uplifting pieces and pieces about, hope, and pieces about getting to the other side of it. It had been a while since I had written from that dark place, if you will, and it meant a lot to do that, because I know, I know people, personally that have not gotten to the other side of it. So I was just really kind of moved to write from that perspective again.
Do you find that it's healing for you, but it's also, most importantly, we're just talking about it with Joe Kane. It's about also giving back, and you're giving back through the music, so that way maybe it can help heal somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, I don't ever want to forget where I came from, and second of all, being, I don't know if I want to say one of the lucky ones. Somebody once told me that, either way, you carry the message, Some people, unfortunately, have to die to carry the message. Some people live to carry the message. And I've been one of those that have been fortunate enough, I guess, to get to the other side of it. But it's healing to be able to reach down into that place and look at somebody and go, you know what, I understand. I know exactly what you're feeling. I know exactly what you're thinking. I know what it feels like. And for me, when I, first got clean and sober, that was to sit across the table and have somebody relate on a personal experience rather than because they learned it in a book or, they learned it in a class, but from personal experience. That was very, very healing for me as a newcomer, to feel I wasn't alone anymore, and somebody actually understands. And then not only do they understand, but they have a solution. So if they've been where I've been and they got to the other side of it, how do I get that? And that's what, to me, that's what the whole healing process is,
Good stuff, man. And where can they find your music if they're looking?
Most of my stuff right now I'm posting on SoundCloud because it's really, really easy, user-friendly. And, I mean, you can even download it, stream it. You just type in my name, Stacey Hampton, and it'll actually bring up my username is Anastasios08 because apparently Stacey is a popular name and like 700 other people have it. So I just made up something so I could get on SoundCloud. But my picture's on there, so hopefully everybody knows kind of what I look like, short hair. But, yeah, I'm on SoundCloud. And I'm on Facebook, too. I have my SoundCloud account linked to Facebook. So if you just go to Stacey Hampton on Facebook, every single song that I put on SoundCloud will show up on Facebook as well.
Yep, it sure is, and it's Stacey Hampton at Facebook or at Stacey Hampton on Facebook. It's good stuff. If you check it out, give it a like and see some of her videos and hook up to SoundCloud, and you guys can rock out to what she's doing. She's got some great music. We're going to play Fade into Black tonight as a part of Music in Recovery. And as always, we are honored to have Stacey Hampton, a part of Rockers in Recovery, and she comes to a lot of our different festivals and our events and meet and greets, and she rocks, and so does her dad, and so does her significant other, Teresa. Great people. Stacey, in closing, anything that you would like to say to people that may be listening?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to piggyback off of the other gentleman. There's always hope. There's always hope. There's even in that moment where you may feel like there's no way out. There are millions of us that have been where you've been, that have thought what you thought, felt what you felt, and we have found a solution to where we can live happy, joyous, and free. And I mean, that was important for me. I mean, it's one thing to get clean and sober, but I wanted to be happy doing it. And there is a solution to do that. And all you got to do is reach out a hand and just say, I need help. And every single one of us have a responsibility to help you. And doing that helps us. And so I need the newcomer as much as they need me. You know what I mean? That's the way that it works. And if there's anything that I could pass on is it's never hopeless. It never is. I mean, what I have experienced in sobriety and getting clean is beyond measure, and anything is possible once I put the drink and the drug down and I seek a life of recovery. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So reach out, ask for help. There's no shame in it. The guilt I get is overbearing, but we're here. We're all here for every single one of you guys.
Great stuff. Stacey, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for being a part of Rockers in Recovery and spreading the message of hope through your music and through your love. We're going to have you back soon, and keep on writing those great songs, and so that way we can release some more.
All right, John. I sure do appreciate it, bud.
No problem. That's what we're here for. Carry the message of hope together. We'll talk soon.
That's it. All right. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in to Rockers in Recovery. I want to thank tonight's sponsor, Clearbrook Treatment Centers of Pennsylvania. You can give them a call at 888-414-4209. Again, that's 888-414-4209, and that's Clearbrook Treatment Centers of Pennsylvania. Also, you can listen to Stacey Hampton by going to Stacey Hampton on Facebook, and it's at Stacey Hampton on Facebook. Stacey, great person. Thank you for being on the show, both to Joe and to Stacey. Thank you for carrying the message of hope tonight. And, of course, we're going to listen to Fade into Black, written by Stacey Hampton. Thank you, guys. We'll talk soon.
Rockers in Recovery Radio is based on opinion only and is not meant to treat or diagnose any health or mental health issue of any kind. If you feel you need help for any health-related issues, please contact a physician or mental health professional. The opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of Rockers in Recovery.
It seems another lone midnight goodbye. It's time to pack the bags and fly tonight alone. You're drained again. Every day you wake with new hope, naive, but it soon succumbs to your grief. You need relief, just one more shot and you'll be numb. So you fade into black once more. You're gone.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.